Let's go to the main menu and click Docs. Then locate the blue button labeled New and click it once. Then go to the last item in the menu, Word List, and click it. Now, the primary use for the word list is to memorize vocabulary. This is a seminary tool. Let's walk through the interface. So first at the top left, we have the Add button. Let's go ahead and click that. Notice that we can choose to add lemmas. That is the underlying dictionary form of the Hebrew or Greek word, depending on the text we've chosen. We can choose the Bible translation, so you can use interlinears or you can do directly from a Greek or Hebrew Bible that you specify. We can put in a Bible reference. So let's go ahead and put in John 3:16. Notice the drop-down menu confirms your choice. Let's go ahead and click John 3:16. In a few moments, every single word in John 3:16 will be placed in the word list. Now, before we look at that, let's look at a few other items. First, we can give this document a name, and that's really important to do as quickly as possible. So click the pencil icon or click on the name, which I'll do. And let's just type in John 3:16 word list and press enter. Now I'm going to expand the border by left-clicking here on the far right border and dragging it to the far right so we can see all the information. Now you'll see that there's several columns: count, card front, section, lemma, gloss, and if we float our mouse between the columns, we can adjust the size and width of the columns. And we have one more column at the far right, audio. If you right-click on the label of the column, you can turn on and off individual columns, so that can be pretty handy. Now let's explain the purpose of each column. Count is letting you know how many times that word appears in the verse range that you chose. In this case, 6 times. Now I did some checking, and I'll be honest with you, I do not know why Logos was reporting 6 as the count for the article. I've checked both the manuscripts and so forth, and there's only 5 articles in the text. So there may be a little bit of a bug here in the counting, but what we could do is we can go back and change that number to 5, and so we can make sure it's accurate. Now you can click inside the column box and actually make changes to the number. So let's change that to 5 and press enter. In addition to changing the elements within each box, you can also sort on the columns. Notice that I have count, and there's a little caret icon. If I click that once, I'm going to sort from high to low to now low to high. You'll notice there's a section, and this can be very handy if you are memorizing vocabulary for a chapter and you want to organize it by section. So we can click here, this is section 1, and we can click here and say this is section 2. So you can go in and add these labels. Once you've done that, you can then sort on selection, and then you can organize your information by your personal labels. So be aware of that. Now, depending on your school and what books you're using for memorization, you may need to change the gloss based on your studies and the context. So again, that is fully editable as well. Now, once you're done editing the list, you're ready to print cards for memorization. To do that, go to the far right and click Cards. Notice the flexibility of the Logos tool. First, you can choose from a variety of Avery label types. You can choose based on the size of the paper, letter and A4 or index. You can also choose how many cards you wish to print on each page. Now, currently, we're looking at the front of the card. How do I know that? Because over here at the top right, it tells me. If I click on back, now I can see the back of each card. Now, if you're ready to print these cards out, simply go to the stoplight menu at the top right, the 3 vertical dots, and click it and choose Print Export. Let's go ahead and do that. And here we go. And now we can export those to Word to do some further customization. So there's a lot of flexibility here. Notice at the left, you do have the option to print front, back, or both, depending on your printer's capability to do this. So be aware how Logos is doing this, because right now, if we choose front, it's all the front cards. Then you'd have to manually reinsert and print the back of the cards. Let's click on both to see what that looks like. So here we have both. Here's the front of page 1, and here's the English on page 2. So if your printer can automatically print front and back, this is certainly the easiest and most time-saving way to do this. Let's go ahead and click the X to close this window. Now let's click the Add button. There's a couple more options. We can also add words from selected text. So I'm going to bring in my New King James. I'm going to choose verse 17. Now I'm going to select the whole passage. Then I'm going to go to Add. and then I'm going to choose selected text. I'm going to go back to my grid view so I can see the new words being added. And let's click on count to resort. Now notice because we selected English text, we have a column that's blank. It actually took into account the spaces. We can see the English word the and the English word world. So now we're combining English with the Greek. We don't want to do that. So if you're working with the Greek, you'll have to open up a Greek Bible, then select the text and do it. But if you make a mistake, just press Control-Z and Logos will undo what you just did. So that's a real handy feature. Let's click Add, and notice we can also choose from the clipboard. So if we were to right-click on a word and paste it into our clipboard, we can add that there as well. There's also the Merge feature. Let's click on Merge. Notice that the Merge window opens up, and now, like we've demonstrated with the passage list, we can now compare two word lists and decide how we want to interact with them. Union, intersection, difference, and symmetric difference. Now, we're not going to go through these specific elements like we did in the passage list. I recommend watching the passage list video to learn how to use these. You do have the ability to work with multiple lists. We do have the share button that you can share with other users. We've demonstrated that in the past. Let's go ahead and close the Bible down. One other item to show you before I close out, and that's here down at the bottom, add lemma. You can add a Greek or Hebrew word on the fly. You can paste it in there or simply type in G for Greek and then phonetically spell the word. So I'm going to type in A-G-A-P-A for agapao, and there's love. I can select it and add it to my list. Now, once you do that, notice we have one more step. Logos has gotten rid of the G, put in the Greek word. We have to click the white arrow in the circle to actually add it to our list. You'll know that it's added when it's removed from the add lemma box. For Hebrew, type in H:, I'll type in B-R apostrophe for bara. In a moment, Logos will locate that Hebrew word. There it is to create. We'll click it once, and then we have to click that white arrow in the circle to add it to our list. So you can mix Greek and Hebrew words in the same list if you want. And essentially, you can put anything in here you want to copy and paste. So as you can see, the word list is a wonderful tool to help you learn Greek and Hebrew vocabulary. And by the way, you can add other languages as well. Logos is totally flexible. You can add any language to the word list.